Welcome to Primary Creative Arts. This video is going to show you how you can write your integrated thematic program and get a very good mark for your assignment 1. What you really need to do is read the learning guide as well as the Creative Arts student support material. This has extensive coverage about every single requirement of both assignment 1 and assignment 2. Read it again and again, as well as reading the learning guide and watching this video all the way through. You can also use Mad About the Arts, the set textbook. Chapter 9 talks about programming in the arts. The New South Wales K-6 Creative Arts syllabus has units of work that you can look at and get ideas from. I've put quite a few units to be exemplars on views, so you can see what students have done in previous assignments. Of course, I'd suggest you don't copy them because that'll be picked up and you might fail the whole unit. Check out the integration tutorials and lecture notes, literacy and integration on themes. They will have lots of ideas as well that you can adapt for your assignment. And of course the artsmad.com website. This has over 1,000 free creative arts resources for teachers. Anyone can use them, and by all means use and adapt these ideas, but do reference where you got them from. So you have to write a thematic unit of work across 4 art forms, as well as including the 5th art form, media arts, in one or more of the programs. It is a unit of work, not a series of lesson plans. You're planning like teachers do. You might have started in PP1 writing lesson plans. Now you're ready to write whole programs of work. Write the assignment on the downloaded proforma. Start off with an introductory lesson. Then you develop the theme over 2 to 4 lessons. And then you close the program with a closure lesson. Use 1 page per art form for each program. To set it in its context, we need to do a lot of work on the teacher's preparation. So we need to know the school and the children and the teacher who the program is for. So you need to write about it clearly and carefully and talk about the prior experience that children have had in music, dance, drama and visual arts, so your program can build on this prior experience. Then you need to write a reference rationale as to why the arts are important, both generally and specifically. Why is music education important? Why is dance, drama, visual arts education important? And you'll find there's a lot of literature out there to show you exactly why these art forms are just absolutely so important in children's development. Then you need to list behaviour management strategies, both the teachers using the creative model and your strategies on how to teach music, dance, drama and visual arts. These will be different for each art form. If you remember from chapter 2 in Mad About the Arts, creative stands for children, rules, rewards and routines, the environment, attitudes, time and resource management, interaction, variety and effective communication. And they're the 8 aspects you need to cover in talking about the teacher's strategies. Then you look at the general syllabus-based outcomes and you write about how you're going to prepare and clean up for the music, dance, drama and visual arts programs. List very clearly in great detail all the resources you're going to use for the music, dance, drama and visual arts programs, so you can give your program to another teacher and they can get all the resources ready before they teach. Your reference list must include all the references, both for the reference rationale as well as all of the other details that you have used in the program. It's very important to write it up in correct and accurate APA style. Check out the library website if you need more details about that. Academic literacy is vitally important. You need correct grammar, correct spelling, and you need to show that you have engaged with the unit. In your programs, you start off by writing indicators. These must relate to each activity and not from the syllabus. They need to be specific and observable. So use words like children will demonstrate, children will play, children will sing, not words like children will appreciate or understand. Those are not specific and they're not observable. So you can't assess if a child has understood something unless they actually demonstrate or sing or paint or draw or act in response to what they have learned. The introductory lesson introduces the program, introduces the theme, and children should be doing, not just teacher talk. If you've told children that they're going to be doing a music lesson, they'll be all excited and they'll be sitting there waiting for you to stop talking. And if you keep talk for 20 minutes, they'll be very disappointed that they haven't done music or drama or dance or visual arts in that introductory lesson. So make sure they're engaged and doing right from the start. In the body or development of the program, you need to write enough learning experiences for 2 to 4 lessons. It's always better to do too much than too little. If you're teaching and you suddenly run out of ideas, that could be challenging and difficult. But if you've got lots more ideas on your program, then you can keep going with valuable, thought-out learning experiences. And the development of a theme develops the themes and the concepts, as it seems to indicate, and they have to be developed sequentially. It should relate to the children's previous experience and skills as listed in the contextual description, and it must be scaffolded carefully. Then your closing lesson sums up what you have taught through the program. It's imperative to have this because then you can assess children if they have achieved the indicators and outcomes that you set out in your program. Here's an example of the programming pro forma. It's blank, obviously, at present, so you can see we have the observable indicators, introductory lesson, developing the theme, the closing lesson, and the assessment. The elements, duration, pitch, dynamics, tone, colour, and structure, must link specifically to the music learning experiences in the main part of the pro forma. You must list them in the learning experiences and then tick them off on the right-hand columns. Abbreviate the outcomes for ease of writing, and then you can refer back to them at the beginning part of your assignment where they're written out in full. Here's a dance pro forma written out in full. So we have the observable indicators which are specific to the learning experiences in the program. The introductory lesson, developing the theme, with lots of activities, which would be more than 2 to 4 lessons, I'm sure, and the closing lesson. The assessment indicates specifically how and what you will assess to know if students have achieved the indicators and outcomes. The elements that are being taught are ticked and they relate specifically to the dance learning experiences. The outcomes are abbreviated. Scaffolding refers to the idea that specialised instructional supports need to be in place in order to best facilitate learning when students are first introduced to a new subject. So just like building scaffolding, you need to build up the scaffolding, and then when the building is built, you can take it away. So you start by instructing the children, and then you demonstrate what you've been talking to them about. You observe if they're understanding, and then you correct if necessary and praise. Another way of doing it is to explain the activity or concept, demonstrate it, get the whole class to do the activity, and then split into groups if that's what you're wanting them to do. Here's a program for drama. We've got the indicators linking with the assessment. Then we have the elements taught specifically in the learning experiences in the main part of the pro forma and ticked off in the elements being taught columns. The introduction and closing lessons include children doing. It's not all teacher talk. Every child is doing something in relation to drama. The closing lesson, they're also doing. Every new learning experience is scaffolded. The teacher demonstrates the activity of role improvisation. The teacher demonstrates choral reading. The teacher introduces and demonstrates freeze frames. The teacher explains the concept of tapping in and demonstrates the activity. So it's all the way through the learning experiences and is very important. Here's a program for music based on the book Wombat Stew. It looks a little sparse, and this would be marked very unsatisfactory. Why do you think that is? I'm sure you've realised there's no scaffolding, When the activities are introduced, there's no explanation or demonstration. There's no mention of the elements in the learning experiences, and so no link with the elements that have been ticked in the right-hand column. There's insufficient work for 6 weeks, but the indicators are specific and observable, and the assessment shows how and what, so that's good. But generally that would not pass because all of those other areas have not been achieved to a satisfactory standard. Here is the same series of lessons with a lot of scaffolding, and it's satisfactory, with the elements linking to the learning experiences and lots of clear scaffolding. Specific indicators and the assessment are there. So they're talking about loud and soft untuned percussion instruments, so dynamics and tone colour are indicated. The children learn to play the melody of the song, so pitch is indicated. The instruments are used to play a melody, and again pitch is indicated in the elements column. Here's a sample visual arts program that, sorry, it's not satisfactory. There's very little scaffolding and very little detail, so this wouldn't pass. Let's look at it when it is satisfactory. Why is it satisfactory? If you look at the highlighted sections, they're all the extra details we need to put in to make sure someone else could actually teach this program, and the markers can understand exactly what you are meaning when you write these learning experiences. All of the activities are scaffolded. The elements are mentioned in the learning experiences, and they're linked with the elements in the right-hand column. The indicators are specific and observable, and the assessment shows how and what is being assessed. So that would be a good assignment. Here we have a very poor drama assignment. I realise the processes, types and elements and outcomes haven't been filled in, but if you look at the learning experiences, they're not clearly as scaffolded at all. Here we've added in the black text, and that would make it more satisfactory, because we've got the learning experiences clearly scaffolded now. When you come to assessment, ensure you have given the students the tools that they need in order to be able to achieve the assessment tasks. You need to show how it's being assessed and what is being assessed. How you can use observation, consultation, tasks, other forms of assessment, peer assessment, using outcomes and indicators, and self-assessment. And I've used the acronym OCTOPUS to help you remember those 7 different aspects of assessment. And what? You need to match the assessment with the specific observable indicators you've written at the top of the program. When you submit your Creative Arts program, write it on the downloaded proforma, complete it and submit it through Turnitin at least a week before the due date. Then you can check the originality report and make sure you haven't inadvertently plagiarized someone else's work. That is considered extremely serious, and many students over the years have failed the unit because of plagiarism. Read the learning guide and the student support material documents, again, after you've done your draft program, and make sure that you've included everything. Read Mad About the Arts. Chapter 2 talks about behaviour management. Chapter 9, programming in the arts. And the middle chapters are about music, visual arts, dance and drama, and can give you lots of ideas of how to implement them in the classroom and in your program. Check that you've met all the criteria to pass the assignment, and have a satisfactory academic literary standard, which is correct grammar and spelling, and demonstrate engagement with the unit. Check that you've met all the criteria to pass the assignment, such as the contextual description, including media arts, the rationale and referencing. These are all under Criterion 1. You need to ensure you have included behaviour management, both the teachers and your strategies, preparation, clean-up of materials, resources, and use the correct proforma. Then Criterion 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 all have the same sub-criteria. You need to make sure you've got engaging introduction and closing lessons, The indicators are specific and observable. The assessment shows how and what you're assessing. At least 4 to 6 weeks work in the middle section. Elements are clearly taught and linked to the learning experiences. Effective strategies are included, and there is scaffolding for every new activity. So those are the 6 criteria we'll be looking at and marking your work on. If you omit even one of the sub-criteria, you may not get satisfactory in that particular criterion. So read all of the support material and double check that you've included everything so you can be confident you will get a good result in this assignment. Have you read the learning guide? Have you read the student support material? If you have read both of these, and then you have any other questions, then you can email the unit coordinator with your questions. Don't email the unit coordinator with questions that can be answered either from this video, from the learning guide, or from the student support material. It's wasting her time, and yours as well. So make sure you read these important documents and have a great result from your assignment. Enjoy programming in the arts.